If you're looking for a super thrifty place to live with dirt cheap housing, low-cost groceries and wallet-friendly utility bills, look no further than Numbio's Cost of Living Index, which rates the affordability of each country according to the people who live there. Here are the 10 cheapest countries to live in the world for 2018. 1. South Africa. South Africa is the cheapest country to live or retire. It's also the world's largest producer of platinum, gold and chromium, which goes far to enrich the country and its economy. The cheap cost of labor in South Africa entails that expats living here will have a high standard of living and will have domestic help as the norm if they so wish. Along with a higher local purchasing power, South Africa also offers lower prices on consumer goods and groceries, and rent costs. In the major city of Cape Town, for instance, monthly expenses total just under $400, while the average rent costs are reflected by the typical price to rent a one-bedroom in Durban of around $280 a month. 2. India. India is the most populous country among the cheapest, home to 1.25 billion residents. Its major industries include textiles, chemicals and food processing. India also has a relatively high local purchasing power in the major cities surveyed. Living in India can be cheap. It has the second lowest rent index of the cheapest countries after neighbor Nepal. India also has some of the lowest prices for consumer goods and groceries, with typical monthly expenses for these priced around $285 a month for a single person living in Kolkata. 3. Slovakia. For expats, the cost of living in Slovakia is good. The Czech Republic and Slovakia were once one, and they share a similar culture and language. Prices are also similar, though you have to remove Prague and Bratislava from the cheap living equation, unless you get out of the center. Both are inundated with tourists, the latter because it's a major river cruise stop. Secondary cities like Brno are going to provide a much better value. Buying a castle would be nice. After all, Slovakia has the highest number of castles per capita. 4. Romania. With some of the fastest internet speeds on the planet and a welcoming atmosphere for startups, it's surprising that Romania is not a more popular destination for those with a business they can run from the laptop. It's also one of the prettiest countries in Europe. It's cold in the winter and English is not widely spoken outside the tourist areas, but prices for nearly everything are a bargain in Romania. Beer is roughly the same price of a soda when you go out, and you can find a good bottle of wine for 3 or 4 euros in the supermarket. A taxi across town will only be a few dollars, and intercity transportation is also a bargain when you want to explore. 5. Saudi Arabia. Groceries are more expensive in this desert country than most other cheapest countries, as are consumer goods. But this Middle Eastern nation is fairly wealthy, thanks to its strong oil industry centered on crude oil, petroleum refining and petrochemicals. Plus, Saudi Arabia has a higher GDP per capita of $24,000, according to the World Bank. This helps give Saudi Arabia a local purchasing power that even beats out New York City. 6. Bosnia-Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina is a European nation that borders Croatia and Serbia, and has a population of 3.9 million. It's a small but charming country in the Balkans with spectacular mountains and outdoor adventures. After some tough time, the country's living standard is getting higher and higher every year. Its main industries are minerals and metals, including steel, coal, iron ore, lead and zinc. Bosnia and Herzegovina has a decent local purchasing power, as well as low prices on rent, groceries and consumer goods. In the capital of Sarajevo, for example, the combined monthly cost of rent and other expenses is just around $600 minus $700. 7. Nepal. Costs here vie with parts of India as the cheapest in the world, with a one-bedroom in Kathmandu priced at just $109 a month, but a tough visa situation, poor infrastructure, and a lack of attractive cities where you can put down roots. The two big ones of Kathmandu and Pokhara are both choked with traffic, overbuilt, and overcrowded. Blackouts are frequent and the internet is iffy in most spots. Beer is taxed heavily and is expensive. If you're pulling in $2,000 a month from a remote job or a business, you're filthy rich by Nepalese standards. That's 10 times the average salary here, and the GDP per capita is just over $700. For Americans looking to stretch savings in a country with dirt cheap living expenses, Nepal will still be an attractive choice. 8. Paraguay. Paraguay has good healthcare, culture very friendly and love foreigners. The country has low costs across the board on rent, grocery and consumer goods. In Asunción, the nation's capital, consistently ranking as one of the most affordable cities in the world, monthly expenses for a single person are just around $360 a month, and rent for a single-bedroom flat is about $250. You can look forward to a subtropical climate, a mixed culture between the Spanish colonial influenced and the original native culture. 9. Bulgaria. The biggest factor that put Bulgaria among the cheapest countries to live is its low rent costs. In Varna, one of Bulgaria's largest cities, rent is $232 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Food and consumer goods are also cheaper in Bulgaria than most other countries in these rankings. One of the biggest attractions of Bulgaria is that it offers plenty of opportunities to enjoy the better things of life: the beach in summer, skiing in the winter, golf, walking in the mountains, horse riding, fishing. You do get serious winters here, but from late spring through autumn it's glorious, and there's a surprising amount of green space throughout the country. 10. Kazakhstan. Living in Kazakhstan is a unique, enriching experience, characterized by strong contrasts. Old and new, Europe and Asia blend here together, creating thus a colorful, lively mix that appeals many expats. Kazakhstan's cheap living is most apparent in its costs for groceries and consumer goods, which are lower than most of the cheapest nations. In the summer, pleasure boats take customers for rides and beaches are open for swimming. In the winter, ice slides and skating rinks are built at intervals along the river.